Hello. Our author study was on Eric Carle, and I wanted to do a social studies lesson with Eric Carle. And so I chose Where is My Cat book um, because the cat goes to different regions of the world and sees different kinds of cats and different kinds of people. And so I really wanted to introduce the students to the idea that in this book, in the illustrations, multiple cultures are being represented. And so they will have been familiar with the book. And at the beginning of the class, I will have large poster printouts of the cats and the people in the stories, and we'll have matched them up. We'll introduce new vocabulary. So culture is one of their vocabulary words. And author and illustrator, because I really want to talk about the differing roles of the author and the illustrator. My standard for reading literature is use illustrations and details in a story to describe the characters, settings, or events. So I'm going to use this standard to cover a social studies standard, which is with prompting and support, generate compelling questions to explore people and places. Okay. And so students will be able to ask questions about the images to explore the culture represented. And so that engagement is introducing objectives, what mastery looks like, vocabulary. And I'm going to, for ELL support and SPED support, I'm going to ask for choral responses to vocabulary words. So we're really going to drive home the definitions for those words because they are new and we're going to continue to use them throughout our discussions and our centers. For the exploration, we'll look as a class together at the poster printouts from the story and talk about how the cats are from all over the world and the images from the book represent culture. And a question that will be posed for a Think, Pair, Share will be what are parts of culture that you can see in these pictures. So I want students to be talking about the clothing that they see, some of the animals that they see besides the cats. There are other animals, hats that people are wearing, and just kind of making deductions about what parts of culture we can see just in the image. Okay, and then I'll introduce the stations. Students will be grouped in groups of 4, and they'll be grouped in a loose high-low manner. SPED and ELL making sure that they are with high-performing students so that they can both help each other get some insight into what's going on in the pictures. Each student will have a role in this lesson. So one of the students will be the artist, and that student will draw 3 parts of culture that are visible in the images. Clothes, what the people are doing, homes, backgrounds, things like that are what I'm looking for. For differentiation, SPED students or ELL students may be benefited most by this part of the activity because it is hands-on and allows them to draw and visualize what each of the parts of culture are. The second role will be a word match role. So students will label items on the poster. So we'll have that big poster in the center, and they'll be given the word and a picture symbolizing the meaning of the word so they are able to match it. For differentiation, ELL students would be benefited by taking this role as well. Their pictures would also have labels in their native language and in standard English. And then the third role, the third student role, would be that they would be given images and words, and we'll select one thing from the poster that's similar to their lives and one thing that is different. So for instance, what we're looking for here is that clothing is different from what I would wear, but their home is the same, right? Or their background where they are. Okay, and then the fourth role would be that the student would describe the kind of cat that goes with the region. So now these roles have been looking at the features of culture with the people in the book, and then the fourth student will describe the kind of cat that goes with the region. So words, images, drawings. ELLs would be provided with images and native language text as well as standard English text. And so they would say, this cat is big and black and looks like, if they have the ability, they can say, oh, that looks like a panther, or that looks like a lion. And start to talk about what kind of cat goes with the people. Okay. And then for their evaluation at the end of this activity, students would come to the carpet and we would talk about what they saw in their pictures. It'll be a little bit more difficult for them to recognize similarities, and part of this cultural activity is for them to recognize similarities between people from all over the world and themselves. So there will be a focus here in questioning. And so what I would do for this activity to differentiate for ELL, SPED, and GATE is to partner an ELL or a SPED student with an extroverted gregarious partner for a think, pair, share. So I'd give them a chance to think about their answer, to pair together to talk about it, and then to share with the class to give them a little bit more confidence. And so when we move into talking about how we're similar, we would say things like we all need clothes, a home, cats according to the book, etc. And then GATE students could be prompted to go a little further with this by asking things like, what makes these items common to all people? Why do we all need these cultural items? And so to start sort of extending the way that they're thinking about that and deepen their knowledge. And then students will talk about what they saw that represents culture, so we can reiterate kind of that vocabulary. And finally, at the very end, we will have a large map, and we'll put a picture of the cat where it belongs on the map. The teacher will talk about regions here and why maybe the clothing is different, or the cultural things are different based on climate and where they're located, and a little bit of historical background. And we'll locate those cats on the map so we can get a visualization of where the people and the cats are in relation to the story. And that is my lesson. Thank you for listening, and have a great day.